Hey, it's Zane. Welcome back. Thanks for tuning in. Hope you've had a great day. It's a little gloomy here today, late in the afternoon, so hopefully the visuals are okay. I want to get a short message out to you today. I want to talk about the $5 million Bitcoin retirement plan. I want to share some facts and figures with you. I want to paint the picture for you as to how you could realistically set yourself up with a $5 million Bitcoin nest egg within the next 10 to 15 years if you take action now and you do this right and never have to worry about money again, and hopefully leave a financial legacy for your kids, your loved ones, etc. And this is really important because I believe we're at a time and place now where people are starting to realize that, having all of their savings and assets and real estate and stock portfolios and superannuation, all of that centralized, carries with it a lot of risk. And we're starting to see the threats that are starting to evolve around all of that. I won't go into that in today's video, but you know what I'm talking about. And so people are starting to realize that they need to start paying attention to their life savings, to their retirement funds, to their financial situation in this changing and uncertain economic world that we're in. And Bitcoin is front and center in this entire conversation because it is a separate monetary protocol that sits separate from the system because it is decentralized. So everything over here is centralized. Bitcoin is decentralized. And that's what makes it particularly powerful because there's nobody in charge who can change the rules, can corrupt it, can control it. And so when you're talking about your retirement fund, your long-term savings, in my mind, in this changing landscape that we're in, you want to be parking your economic value, your long-term store of value, in something that can't be changed, because you want to get 10, 15 years down the track and know that you've done everything you can, that you can control, and somebody hasn't come along and changed the goalposts on you along the way. And Bitcoin enables you to do that. And so with that, Bitcoin is something that people are paying attention to. I'm getting people come to me every single week. I do one-on-one calls on Zoom. People from all walks of life who are starting to realize that this is an asset they need to be taking really seriously now. And so we have conversations, and I guide them and I help them on their way. And a lot of people have already made the first step on their Bitcoin journey, done a little bit of research, read a book or two, made their first Bitcoin acquisition, but they're just looking, to make progress in a positive way and not mess anything up, and I guide them in that area. And so, if this is you, please book a call with me. I'd love to meet you and help you on your way. I know that you'd get tremendous value from a session with me. My calendar does book up, so if you're thinking about it, just do it. You won't regret it. I know you'll really benefit from it. But let's get back to these numbers. Now, this is not financial advice. This is historical data. And when we start applying historical data and starting to plot a plan for ourselves into the future, we need to use past figures in order to try to predict the future. And when it comes to Bitcoin, we know over the past 7 years, as an example, ARK Invest, a prominent financial firm in America that manages big portfolios of capital. They put out figures about every 6 months, and they recently put out some graphs and charts on global assets over the last 7 years and their performance. And what we found, and they showed, is that Bitcoin over the past 7 years has performed at an average of 59% compound annual growth rate, CAGR, per year. And then they compared it to everything else. And everything else, stocks, bonds, shares, real estate, currencies, gold, silver, etc., has performed at just over 7% a year. And so when people see this, they can't help but say to themselves, well, if I've got capital to allocate moving into the future, and I know that Bitcoin is a fixed finite monetary protocol where there'll never be any more of it. So in other words, the supply is fixed. There's nobody to issue any more of it like they can with shares. And we've got unlimited demand coming for Bitcoin. Only 5% of the population worldwide has any exposure to it because they don't understand it yet. So we've got the world coming for Bitcoin, plus the largest pools of capital on earth bashing down the door, basically taking all the supply that's coming onto the market. 450 Bitcoin a day are currently being mined. And you've got institutions, Wall Street, the US government, nation states, all basically hoarding that Bitcoin, putting it onto their treasuries and balance sheets. This is an issue, because if you want to have a seat at the table in this monetary protocol that is going to be a completely transformational value system into the future, you've got to take some action while you still can. And so, if we consider Bitcoin's historical compound growth rate and we look to the future, what we find is that, as an example, a $10,000 allocation to Bitcoin today, if Bitcoin was to continue at that 59%, in 15 years' time, that would be $4.3 million US dollars. $4.3 million dollars. In 10 years' time, if it was to perform at that 59% as it's done for the past 7 years, in 10 years' time, $100,000 in 10 years would be worth $5.7 million. So 10,000 today, in 15 years, 4.3 million. 100,000 today, in 10 years, 5.7 million. And so this is the sort of stuff that if you have a time horizon of 10 to 15 years, you really need to be paying attention to. And I think this is why many people are starting to realize, when they look at their retirement savings and their superannuation, and they see that it's performing at 7% as it's done for the past decade, and then they're looking at Bitcoin and seeing it's performing at 55 to 60%, they're saying, well, hold on a minute. If I don't take any action, if I just sit on the sidelines and allow my retirement savings to essentially continue to be eroded by only doing 7% for the next 10 years, for example, which is not even keeping up with true inflation, which is sitting at around 13 to 15% because of the expansion of the money supply, that's a problem, because it means you're going to get to retirement age and realize that you just don't have enough. And so people who are starting to pay attention to their retirement funds now are asking these questions, looking at Bitcoin, realizing that it is an idea whose time has come, realizing that it has now been officially endorsed by the US government, who set up a strategic Bitcoin reserve, realizing that institutions and Wall Street are now clamoring to buy Bitcoin and basically synthetically sell it to their clients, their financial planning clients around the world, through exchange traded funds, ETFs. This is all happening now. And so because of that, Bitcoin, it's not going to fail. Bitcoin is an idea whose time has come. And so you have to act if you want to have a seat at this table. You've got to get onto this life raft quick if you want to allocate to Bitcoin in a meaningful way, because you can't say that the supply is unlimited. The supply is not unlimited. The supply is very limited with where we are now. And so now is the time to act. There's people like Peter Dunworth, an Australian, a prominent Bitcoin advisor. He's out of Sydney. He deals with a lot of high net worth individuals. He's a traditional financial planner as well. He's one of the loudest voices for Bitcoin out of Australia. He was on a podcast just a few days ago, and he was talking about, based on all the research he's done and everything that he's understanding and studying around Bitcoin, he believes that Bitcoin's going to 100x in the next 10 years. And 100x is essentially just carrying forward that 59% CAGR for the next 10 years. That would be 100x, and that would put Bitcoin at $10 million US per coin in just 10 years' time. Now, even if he's half right at 5 million, it's still going to significantly crush what you'll achieve in traditional assets. And this is why people, they're telling me every single week, I'm getting rid of my real estate, I'm getting rid of my share portfolios, I'm moving in a meaningful way into Bitcoin. Talk to me about self-custody, talk to me about security, talk to me about all of the right protocols, and this is what I guide people on, so that they can sleep well at night and progress in the right direction. You know, there's so much information out there when it comes to this stuff. You can find it all out for yourself. It's all available online. It just means you've got to dedicate a lot of time to sifting through it all, and, you know, getting to, I guess, some meaningful, simple steps to follow. And that's not that easy. You know, people don't need information these days. What they need is education, simple steps, and transformation. And that's where I can help. So a $5 million Bitcoin, it's realistic, it's achievable, but you got to act now. Bitcoin is not going away. It's compound annual growth rate. You know, there's really prominent people in this space who believe that it's going to continue. Even if they're half right, it's still going to absolutely decimate the returns that you would receive in traditional markets. You just got to pay attention. There's no time to waste. And you got to get on this life raft as quickly as you possibly can. Do your own research, read some books, listen to some long-form podcasts, learn about self-custody, learn about air-gapped, Bitcoin-only, open-source wallets. It's the only type that I would recommend, and just start, you know, taking action in a meaningful way. That would be my recommendation. So, $5 million Bitcoin. Are you going to get there? That's up to you. But it's all about understanding what this asset is and moving forward as quickly as you possibly can. Hope you got some value today. Leave some thoughts in the comments if you want to give some feedback, any questions. I'll do my best to answer them. Other than that, if you need to book a call with me, please do that. I'd love to meet you and guide you. But other than that, I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Thanks for watching. This is Zane signing out. Bye for now.